I think I did everything right. I think we're technically live. I think we're good. I was debating whether keeping some goofy, nerdy background music or not, but we're not doing that. All right, welcome to Retro Mag. I don't know if that's actually what I want to call this. That sounds pretty nerdy. I just wanted a place to talk about old gaming magazines because I have literally, I think, hundreds of them. So, I mean, maybe I have not as many as I think, but I think a couple hundred probably. And yeah, and I took some photos. This isn't one of them because, as you can see, the cover doesn't exist on this one, but thankfully the spine does. This is an Electronic Gaming Monthly from March of 1995. And I do remember this cover. So yeah, this might be one of the earliest ones that I own. Maybe. I don't think I have any like NES, early SNES kind of stuff. I probably do now that I think about it, but maybe only a couple. I don't know. It's mostly mid 90s to late 90s and then lots from early 2000s. But yeah, I wanted to just kind of jump into some random things. Gives me a place to kind of talk about it. Let's see. Well, this is my first episode here too, so we'll see how this goes. Should look okay, yeah. Cool. And then I'm just going to bring up images as I talk about things. But I actually found some other things in here too that I didn't take pictures of that I might get to. There's a lot of letters and a lot of really dumb things. That were probably funny in the mid-90s. Like, they have this weird what if section. I'm pretty sure it's a regular thing for EGM. God, I don't even want to read. These are hard to read, but okay. So they have this little tiny what if on the spine. You know what? Wait, is the art first? Because, no. Well, let's get to the art first. I can go back to that. Because there's a lot of write-in like letters to the editor. All right. First off, one of the coolest things. I haven't looked at this magazine in a decade plus. But as soon as I got to the art page, which you can see up on the screen there, but here's me looking at it here. As soon as I got to it, I remembered all of this artwork. Envelope art. Does anybody remember envelope art? I don't even know. Can you see that on the screen? Actually, I have it other shots here, so you can kind of. There we go. The Mortal Kombat one, because Donkey Kong Country, right, had just come out, and Mortal Kombat 2. Although Mortal Kombat 3 is on the cover, but Mortal Kombat 2 was huge at the time. But anyways, that's enough about the art. But I thought it was really cool. I think all of the old. Hold on a second. Gotta close something. There we go. All of the old, I think, like retro magazines, video game magazines had envelope art. All right, I do want to read a letter though. I got to find one. I read through these the other day. There might be an interesting one. Oh yeah, that what if thing I mentioned. So they got here written. Ever had a revelation? Okay, how about something really strange about the video game industry? If you've got some strange combination you feel everyone should know about, send it in. So this stuff is a blast from the past because it's all about Mortal Kombat, Beavis and Butthead, Sonic and Knuckles. So like, so the what ifs are like, what if Sonic got motion sickness? And I don't know why they mentioned Vision. What? Obviously that's a Marvel character now, but and it was then. But I'm trying to think of a video game with Vision in it. What if Vision went blind? Oh, this is all from one person. What if Spider-Man had 8 legs? Oh God. Okay, these ones are a little funnier. What if Scorpion would yell other dog commands when throwing his spear? Like sit, heel, and down boy. What if people stop sending in bad what ifs about Scorpion's spear? What if you stacked a Sonic and Knuckles cartridge on top of a Sonic and Knuckles cartridge? Alright, that's enough of that. There are some interesting letters though, like this one. It's a short one. Okay, does anybody remember the was it Atari? Yeah, Atari Lynx. Was it the sequel to the Jaguar? It must have been. I don't know. I recently bought an Atari. Oh, this is somebody named Nicholas from Chicago, who was probably like 12. So I was like 1995. I would have been 14. March, so I would have been just 14. Yeah, just turned 14 when this came out. Crazy. It's even crazy that I still have it. But anyways, so whoever Nicholas was is probably way too old at this point to be even making to be making a podcast about old video game magazines. All right. Sonic for the Lynx. I recently bought an Atari Lynx, and in the box there was some order form or some or something or some Link games. On this order form, there were some pictures of Lynxes, Lynxes, I guess, with games playing on them. On one of those games, or on one of those screens, was Sonic the Hedgehog. Did Sega make a Sonic game for the Lynx? And Ed seems to reply. He's one of the editors. He seems to reply to all the things. For all of our readers out there, Nicholas did in fact send us a picture of the catalog with Sonic playing on an Atari Lynx screen. But sorry, Nicholas, there is no Sonic game for the Lynx. We have no idea why or how they have this game on the Lynx. It's obviously a picture from a Game Gear screen, even. That's funny. There's people asking about like RPGs. Are there any RPGs coming out for the 32X? Asking about whether PlayStation and Sega Saturn Japanese games will play on American PlayStations, which I don't think PlayStation's even out yet. So, because we'll get to the announcement here. So, all right, I'm gonna move along because I'm already taking a while here. Let's see what's next on my images here, and then we'll use that as a. Oops. We use that to see what's next. Oh, just an ad. Yeah, I don't show too many ads on here, but Ogre Battle, man, this game is rad. This ad is awesome. If anybody ever played Ogre Battle on Super Nintendo, it's part of a series, even though I didn't know that as a kid. The Tactics Ogre games, because there's one of those on SNES, although I think it was Japanese, so Super Famicom only. But anyways, Ogre Battle's awesome. I had the chance to buy it once, kind of recently, but it was like $85 at a used place just for the cart. Well, it wasn't really worth it. But yeah, some Kirby ads, man. Let's see what's next. Yeah. Anybody remember Sushi X? These are the editors. I kind of cut off the top guy, Ed, who was replying to the letters earlier, but I thought it would always be funny if I look back and see names that I recognize from like the gaming industry now, but I don't think so. I guess they're all old men at this point. I don't know. Do I have the next reviews on there? No, but I do have some. So what do we got on the screen there? Bubsy for the Atari Jaguar. Oh God. All right. Oh, it even has like the meg size. That's funny. Like on the cart. 8 meg, 16 meg, 8 meg. That's crazy. Weird. Oh, and how many levels there are? Oh God. That's so funny. Like those are the things we cared about. Some Sega CD games. Popful Mail. That always looked like a good game. Do I have that review on here? No. I'll still skip to the next thing though. But apparently Popful Mail on Sega CD is pretty awesome. You know what? Is there a trailer for that? I didn't quite prepare. Okay, hold on. Let me do this. I want to watch a trailer for Popful Mail on Sega CD. There we go. Give me a second. Let's go to YouTube. Okay, YouTube. There we go. Okay, bring the screen up. It's fine. All right, Popful Mail on Sega CD commercial trailer. It wouldn't be a trailer. Man, I don't even know if they would have. I just want like a minute-long game intro. Oh, jeez. Maybe I could just do like gameplay. It's a game that always looked cool in images, but I never had a Sega CD. I had a friend that had a Sega CD. All right, well, I'm going to pimp out Nintendo Complete. Don't want to mute it, but I'll keep it low. Let's just jump to the middle, see what we're dealing with. That's Popful Mail. Action RPG, Sega CD. They give it all 8s and a 7, so here's a game that could have been Sister Sonic. Instead, it uses unknown characters. This little detail is insignificant, however, as Popful Mail is a decent game. It's really written weird, some of these, but whatever. The story is very humorous at times, fitting in with the Working Designs motif. What is Working Designs known for? Are they still around? I think so. This CD plays well, and the choice of characters is nice. Popful Mail should be a good challenge for even the most hardened player. It's worth buying. And the other one says it's one of the best Sega CD games in a while. I like the graphics, and it looks cool. Isn't that one of the characters you can play as? Anyways, I'm going to be doing this a few times. I want to bring up some trailers for stuff that I barely remember or didn't get to play. Stuff I always wanted to see but didn't get to, obviously, in the 90s. The internet wasn't what it is today. Alright, so that's enough of that. But I'm going to leave YouTube open because we'll probably be getting back to it. Alright, let's jump ahead. Hold on. Turn something off here. There we go. Alright. Oh, there's the last page, but we can move ahead with Bubsy and all that, but whatever. Nobody cares about Bubsy. Yeah, there we go. Editors. Okay, look at this. Look at this top. Okay, so CES was just happening in March of '95. So the top games they saw. What the hell is Whiz on SNES? But it's their #1 thing. The 1995 Winter CES has come and gone. Winter, but this is March of '95, right? Yeah, so almost maybe in January or something. Anyways, who knows? So it's now time to pick our favorite games. There were no Ultra 64, Saturn, or PlayStation games shown. So it's all mostly 16-bit stuff. All right, with a few exceptions. So whatever Whiz was on the SNES, is that Rocket Knight? It's hard. It's such a small image. You can barely see it on the screen. Here, I'll bring it up. See? That's what I'm looking at. So there's Whiz on the left. It kind of looks like Rocket Knight to me, but... And then Star Fox 2, infamous Star Fox 2, which is pretty cool. They have a huge 4-page spread on Star Fox 2 and how it works and everything in here, which we'll get to. Panic Bomber from Hudson on SNES. It looks like, yeah, Bomberman puzzle game. Looks like another Puyo Puyo game. Samurai Showdown 2. Kirby's Avalanche, another Puyo Puyo game. Killing Time on the 3DO. God, anybody ever own a Panasonic 3DO? Wing Commander 3. Comic Zone. I remember that game. I actually bought that on PS3, I think, as a Sega classic. Metal Warriors from Konami. And Knuckles Chaotix on the 32X, which I think is visually headache-inducing. Yeah, anyways, I thought that was interesting to look back through. What's next? More ads. Again, I promise I'm not going to do a million ads, but I think these ads are cool. Anybody remember the Game Boy Color? Or Super Game Boy. Not Game Boy Color. This ad is actually 4 pages. And it's not even a Nintendo Power. So yeah, again, if you're watching the middle of this, this is EGM, Electronic Game Monthly, from 1995, March. It's cool seeing like Final Fantasy Legend 3 and the Super Game Boy was pretty cool. I never owned one. I also never had a Game Boy though, so I was lucky just to get a few SNES games here and there. I think I only ever owned like 3 SNES games. Final Fantasy 2, 4. Final Fantasy 2. Then I think I got Mortal Kombat, the one with sweat instead of blood. Mortal Kombat, and then Final Fantasy 3. And then a year after this magazine, so around 96, I think, Earthbound. I was an early adopter for Earthbound. Actually, I lied. It's 5 pages for the Super Game Boy. Crazy. All right, what do we got next? Oh, I just thought it was cool that, yeah, they're advertising Nintendo adds color to Game Boy structure. But it's the original Game Boy, not Game Boy Color. I don't think that would come till 99, right? Nintendo is making a fashion statement. They are dressing up the gray look of the Game Boy by adding color to it. Vibrant yellow, radiant red, gorgeous green, deep black, even high-tech transparent. That was a thing for a while. So this would become a trend, obviously, with the N64 and obviously Game Boy Color later on, different colors. I had a teal Game Boy Color at one point. Yeah, and then obviously N64, and I think even N64 had different colored controllers. Obviously, there's a couple or a few different variations of switches and the Joy-Cons and stuff now too. All right, anyways, what's next? Oh yeah, was this that interesting though? I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, Apple and Bandai went together to make a CD-ROM based game console called Pippin. Never heard of it. This obviously it didn't come out or it just didn't take off. I love looking at those funny specs though, and the resolution 640 by 480. Up, yeah, 6 megabytes of memory. Crazy. 66 megahertz CPU. But yeah, Apple and Bandai tried to make the Apple Pippin CD-ROM player. Anyways, thought it was interesting. I guess it was supposed to come out that fall, so 1995 for $500 US. And the software is expected to be about $50. Anyways, they talk about development kits here and also educational purposes, I guess. It was like a home computer kind of thing, but focused on games a little more. Nothing too interesting, but you know. And of course, there's tons of weird controllers. What's next on here? Where's that? Dragon Ball Z2 game for Super Nintendo. But of course, that only stayed in Japan. Man, was Dragon Ball even really at its height at all in 95? I don't think so. That was like a late 90s thing, right? What else we got? Skip that, I guess. So yeah, there's Dragon Ball. Okay. Crazy. Super Nintendo to think. Imagine if that came out, you know? Super Nintendo fighting game based on Dragon Ball Z. There's probably translations of it. It probably would be worth searching out. You know, okay, here we go. Virtual racing on the Saturn. But the main thing here was Sonic Drift 2. I didn't even know there was Mario Kart style Sonic games, but they're on the Game Gear. Wonder if they're beloved by anyone, or if they're any good at all. Oh yeah, there's an interesting thing. I think an interesting thing coming up on the next page here. Here we go. Philosoma. Here, I'm going to look up another trailer, because I remember Philosoma on PlayStation. When PlayStation just came out, so this is before PlayStation was really anything. I think I had a demo for this, or maybe it was just Philosoma PS1 demo. We'll see what happens. Trailer. God, this is going to be a blast from the past. Well, why is the dimension so weird? Uh-oh. Is this video that bad? It's all squished or something?
Future.
Okay, that is familiar, but yeah, it's all squished. I don't want it to be squished. Damn, is that the only version? Yeah, must be. All right, well, we'll watch it. I'm just not going to full screen it. Keep it small. See if it rings a bell. I haven't seen this since 95, I guess.
Future Fighter A-37 Strega.
I don't want it to pick up on the mic. Let me turn it down a bit.
An emergency call from the planet is received.
Vaguely familiar. Oh, this was a Sony Computer Entertainment of Japan game.
They've begun to see signs and movements. And now, Strega is
a new game that puts its system through its paces. A visually stunning game that uses cool CG cinemas to link shooting stages with shifting viewpoints to suit the action. Integrated wild CG with superb 3D polygons. Visual tour de force. This was like early
with a mysterious
CGI.
Begins.
Yeah, see, this is familiar, man. I think I had this on a demo disc or something. I think it was just this video. I wonder if there's anyone out there that has fond memories
of this time, there's no turning back.
Alright, that's enough. It's almost over anyway, right? Yeah. Alright. Anyways, that's that. There's also a Sailor Moon-esque game for Game Gear. Actually looks kind of cool. Like a side-scrolling action game. Good character models in that, though. Anyways. And more Puyo Puyo looking stuff. Man, that must have been crazy popular. Everything was Puyo Puyo. Hoppo Ito Habareke at the top there. Huh. Oh, PlayStation and Saturn. Anyways, what's next? And then we got a weird ads. Alright. Oh, yeah. So I did get to play this. I think my uncle owned it. He was the first one to get a PlayStation in my circle, I guess. So I got to play his a little bit, but did play a little bit of the original Resident Evil, Demolition Derby, or the Philosoma demo, and I think there were just videos in that. But also Battle Arena Toshinden, which I think he just had the demo for it. So this would have been around 95. But it wasn't called Battle Arena Toshinden. I guess here it was called Hyper Solid Toshinden. And then they got Virtua Fighter versus Toshinden. I don't think this is a very good fighting game that people remember very well, but it was so cool seeing 3D fighter, you know? That wasn't in arcades, at least. Anyways, that's pretty much it for that. Okay, now, this is more of a personal thing. Does anybody remember Little Ninja Brothers? Apparently there was a Japan Super Nintendo game called Chinese Fighter, but sure, it would have a different name here, but never came out as far as I know. But this is a fighting game. Now these guys, there was an NES game called Little Ninja Brothers, which is like an action RPG co-op. It's actually fantastic. I grew up playing it at a friend's house a lot. That's Little Ninja Brothers. It's pretty great. There was a Super Nintendo version, or sequel, or whatever, that had like random battles, Final Fantasy III style, you know? And I remember renting it once, thought it was okay, but maybe it's just not as fun playing by yourself, but didn't like it as much. But yeah, Little Ninja Brothers on NES was awesome. So this is like a fighting game, I guess, starring these guys. I don't remember this at all. Culture Brain, same company, I'm pretty sure, as the NES one. Capcom Fighter, yeah. No, not Capcom, is it? No, I guess just Culture Brain. Yeah. Story mode, tournament. Alright, anyways, looks neat. But forgotten, or maybe nobody even knows about it. And this was cool. I totally forgot about Donkey Kong Country cheats. So the trick of the month is the barrel code. I guess you can get 50 lives in Donkey Kong Country. I probably knew this back then. I should try this on my SNES Classic, because I didn't know. There's actually a couple Donkey Kong Country secrets in here that I didn't know about. So basically, when you're on your, when you load your game, you move down to where it says erase game at the bottom. You can kind of see it on the screen there. And then you spell barrel, B-A-R-R-A-L, with the Super Nintendo controller. And then you pick your file, and you'll have 50 lives. How about that? What do we got next on the screen? Nothing. Oh, Rise of the Robots. Another personal thing. When I'm flipping through this magazine, anything that jumps out to me that's somewhat interesting. So like Rise of the Robots, terrible fighting game. Cool graphics though. Kind of did the Donkey Kong Country thing where they take photos of 3D renders and animate them. I rented this game once, and I remember having fun with it for a weekend or whatever. But anyways, just I wonder if anybody else has memories of that. And I swear there's a ton of Mortal Kombat 2 ads in here. This one for 32X. Alright, anyways, what do we got next? What are we looking at? Another couple more Donkey Kong Country cheats? Okay, so this I gotta try. I've never heard of this. And I gotta see it in practice to know what they're talking about. But okay. I'm guessing this is like one of the first levels. Now I'm guessing it's a glitch or something. So I don't even know if it's on the SNES Classic, but first you must beat Jungle Hijinks, the first level of the game. Kill off Diddy in the level and exit with only Donkey Kong. Okay, once you beat that level, you walk down to Ropey Rampage, but instead of letting it go, you rapidly press right on the, well, it says control pad, but D-pad. Oh, and the B button. You'll automatically warp to a different level. I don't think that's an on purpose thing, but I definitely got to try that out. That's a weird thing. And then they got the Derby Days code on Donkey Kong Country, which I kind of remember. I don't know what that means, Derby Days, but if it means anything. But you type it in, or you put it in on the controller, and it moves to a song select, so you can listen to the awesome Donkey Kong Country soundtrack on the title screen. So, you know, whatever. Now the cool thing. Okay, this is probably one of the coolest things in here. If you're a nerd. Sega and Sony announced their 32-bit systems. So yeah, this is pretty crazy. So at the Consumer Electronics Show, CES, in '95, they announced, or Sega announced, okay, I'm going to read this because this is kind of funny actually. Okay, at the recent Winter Consumer Electronics Show, a few minor announcements were made. Sony took a few jabs and played a few pranks on Sega. This year, coincidentally or not, the two companies stayed at the same hotel. So this would be also for CES this year, 1995. The Alexis Park in the heart of Las Vegas. Sega representatives have stayed at the Alexis Park for years, and every year they have put a 5-foot inflatable Sonic outside of the hotel's entrance. This year, it seems that the Sony people deflated Sonic, threw them in the pool, or threw Sonic in the pool. Turnabout is fair play, so Sega switched Sony's PSX Welcome Sega balloons to read, instead, Play Sega 32X. At the show itself, however, Sony didn't showcase anything that the media hadn't seen before. Company spokespeople made a short speech showing off PSX and Ridge Racer, as well as Toshinden. Sega, on the other hand, still isn't talking Sega Saturn, although they did show it off at their press conference and beamed about how well the unit is selling in Japan. With both companies ready to wage war, the key will be pack-ins. Rumor has it that the competition will be hot, and we all know how that went. That was Sega's second last console. Obviously, they had the Dreamcast, but that did not, and Saturn did not make very many waves. So, I think Sega Saturn is the console that they announced, I think, or announced the price or something, and then released it that day, to the surprise of everybody. So, not a good business decision. So yeah, Acclaim, who I'm pretty sure is not around anymore, announced that they're joining with Sony to make games, obviously, or to put their games on their system. There's some mention of LucasArts, Crystal Dynamics, Electronic Arts, bringing their games to PlayStation and Saturn. And then they show some screenshots, which you can see on the screen there, that are just basic kind of stuff. All right, what do we got next? Oh, just more close-up pictures of those. Oh boy, here we go. So these are getting interesting, I find. Right before that, there's a whole section on fighting games too that I kind of skipped over. That being said, I do want to read this. I'm glad I noticed. From video screen to the silver screen, and obviously today we're still trying to get video game movies video game movies made. Obviously, Detective Pikachu is a recent one that I don't know how well it's doing, but as far as critically, it's probably the best received video game movie to date, right? I'm going to read this because I just think it's interesting. I don't have a picture of it, but that's all right. From video screen to silver screen, does it always work? The more recent development, going from the video screen to the silver screen, video games making this leap have yet to make their mark. Anyone remember Super Mario Brothers the movie? Street Fighter the movie failed to set box office records. However, Mortal Kombat the movie does look promising. So this is before Mortal Kombat even came out. And I personally love that movie. I don't think it's great, but it's guilty pleasure of mine. I think it's well done for being PG-13. Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure movie of mine. But anyways, one of the problems with such a leap is the material available. Is it reasonable or even realistic to put the outlandish storylines of video games into Hollywood screenplays? Furthermore, can the producers hit the target audience while still keeping in line with the game's predominantly violent themes, Mortal Kombat especially, without being branded the dreaded R rating? Now, obviously, we have a different look on that today. I'm guessing because of nostalgia. All the kids grew up, and so now rated R, we're getting X-Men rated R movies and all kinds of stuff because we're all grown up now, I guess. Granted, it's easier on the animation side. The full-length animated feature versions of Fatal Fury and Street Fighter did their game counterparts justice, because with animation anything goes, while the live-action feature of the latter received decidedly mixed reviews from fans of the game. So that'd be the Street Fighter movie, I assume. So here we go. I'm going to read the Street Fighter one first. This is a short little thing here. Despite a strong cast, including Ming-Na Wen, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and the late Raul Julia, Street Fighter the movie failed to make waves. Did the producers take the wrong subject? And then Mortal Kombat. Moody and atmospheric, Mortal Kombat appears to have the dark theme of the popular game, but will it be so violent that the ratings board keep its target audience out of the movie theater? So yeah, we all know. I don't think that did make waves either, but it certainly had more lasting appeal, I guess. As far as I know, people still mention the Mortal Kombat movie. So yeah. Then we get to Virtual Boy, which is kind of funny looking back now because of how VR is now, and I believe there's 2 pages of it, yeah. And these screenshots are awful. Like, you can see them on the screen there, right? Kinda. They are just awful. Look at that. You can't even see what's going on. I mean, how else are you gonna take screenshots? But how are you gonna advertise this thing? It's terrible. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but there are some points here that are interesting. Okay, how it looks. We're close to those. Here, I can zoom out actually. All right. No, actually, I'll stay in. It looks better when I show. Oops. We'll look over that. Okay, so let me actually start at the beginning because they talk about how this was like announced. At the Winter CES, we had a chance to peek at Nintendo's newest portable, in quotes, system, the Virtual Boy. In addition, we got our hands on some pics of the games confirmed for release in the US. Everything is beta at this point, but there was still plenty to see and hence plenty for us to show you. This newest system by the Big N will definitely be breaking new ground with 3-dimensional scaling and rotational graphics coming from a high-tech projectional LCD visor. Its specifications are a tad sketchy, but we do know that it will be true 3D as opposed to 3D-like effects produced by other systems. 32-bit and feature true stereo, not just 2 speakers producing the same sounds. Its controller is bound to remind you of the PlayStation's Wing style handheld control unit. There are a variety of buttons, as well as 2 D-pads for whatever reason. Anyways, okay, now I can skip that. Okay, we're close to those virtual reality units you see in the movies. So that's why I thought this was kind of pertinent to mention, because it's crazy that we're living in a VR world a little bit now. We're getting there. They're getting cheaper and smaller and wireless now. Kind of more common, you know? Anyways, it's funny that Nintendo doesn't have a virtual reality. Well, I guess they kind of do now with Labo. The VR Labo thing, where Sony has their VR stuff going. But anyways, we're close to those virtual reality units you see in the movies. The Virtual Boy is somewhat cumbersome to strap onto your head, so it is designed to rest on a tripod for you to lean into the visor and play. Technically speaking, it is portable, but due to the odd shape and weight of the unit, it is yet to be seen how practical such a product is. So they knew right off the bat this was a bad idea. They were just being kind of polite. The controller is very PlayStation-like and has special buttons for depth control, which I didn't know about. All right, now let's go to the next page here. I gotta shrink it. Next page. I'll zoom in at the top here. All right. So Virtual Boy games scheduled for release in the US. All of the games on this page will soon be released for Nintendo's newest portable, the Virtual Boy. Take a look at some of these screen grabs, although they're only in 2D, obviously. Try to get a feel for the power the system has. Alrighty. Actually, the Teleroboxer one looks kind of neat. Right here. It actually looks kind of cool. Like a fighting game, I guess. I heard Red Alarm is awful. It's hard to see what you're doing. And then what the hell is this? Like, look. What is that? I don't even know what's happening in these pictures. Untitled Shooter. This title, although pretty raw now, looks very promising. It uses much of the Virtual Boy's 3D power. Alrighty then. But anyways, I thought that was pretty funny. To see a double feature on the Virtual Boy. Get a look at this head unit. If Nintendo's wishes come true, this will be strapped to the heads of gamers across the country. It's the headset to Nintendo's newest system, the Virtual Boy. Man, crazy. All right, what do we got next? Oh yeah, this is my favorite one. Where are you? All right, we got 4 pages. Did I get all the pages? Oh yeah, I did. 4 pages on Star Fox 2, which famously never came out because they thought the visuals, there were better visuals on, like, I think PlayStation, Saturn, that kind, and N64, which was coming around the corner. There was, yeah, better visuals on those systems, so they didn't want to have this come out, I guess. I know a lot of people don't like Star Fox 2 because, of course, we've all played it, or we've all had a chance to play it now with the Super Nintendo Classic. And I think it's pretty great. Honestly, I think it was way ahead of its time. It's like a strategy game. It's like a roguelike as well. Every time you play it, it's different. Multiple difficulties, but the difficulties, just like in the first Star Fox, would change the actual content. It's pretty, I don't know, pretty amazing. And it's cool that it's out now, I guess. But I just think it's sad nobody really played it. So I think it's pretty great. It's not perfect. It's clearly unfinished in some ways. I think the soundtrack is kind of bland and all that. But again, it was canceled. Never even came out back when it was supposed to. So, but I thought this was pretty cool. And I remember looking over this because I was a big Star Fox fan. I never owned them because I was an RPG guy. But I do remember specifically either renting the original Star Fox a lot or going to a friend's house, borrowing it, playing it at his place. And then Star Fox 64, I got to play it at his place later on in life. So that's cool. Anyways, this game had a lot of potential, but... Alright, let's see. Next page. Those are the same pages we just looked over? Yep. Just to get some better views of what's happening there. And then there. So here's like they got a cool map screen, which is pretty neat. All right, now I got the next page. So what do we got here? Let's just whatever screenshots I could grab, I guess. You got the walkers, you know. That was kind of famous. Or that was the main one, not the main feature, but one of the main things was that your ship can turn into a walker at any time, and then you can walk around in 3 dimensions. Pretty crazy for Super Nintendo. And different ships you can play as and all that. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, all right, what's next? Next page. I was just showing the different planet types and environments. You know, standard stuff. Goes into pretty good detail, though. All right, that's it for that. Star Fox 2, rad game that everybody should try. Mega Man 7. Man. To be honest, I kind of forgot Mega Man 7 exists, like on Super Nintendo, because I played the X series, and I played Mega Man 2 a lot growing up. I'm pretty good at that one, but I rented Mega Man 5 at one point. I think that's the one with Pharaoh Man, Skull Man, unless I'm getting 5 and 6 mixed up, but or 4 for that matter. But yeah, I played a little bit of 3, a little bit of Mega Man 1, but Mega Man 1's pretty brutal. They're all difficult, but Mega Man 1 is just super difficult, I think. 2 is like the pinnacle, like that's fantastic. 3 as well, but I haven't been able to beat 3. So, but yeah, but 5 I rented as a kid. 6 I don't think I played. Mega Man X, I played a lot. Love that game. Actually, I haven't beat it in a long time. I should actually. X2 and 3 I probably rented at some point, but I never played Mega Man 7. I just thought it was neat. Especially when I was looking at this, it's just reminding me how many. I mean, I'm assuming this game is pretty great, but just how many great games were on Super Nintendo. Is it even an argument that it's the best console, the best game lineup? I don't know. Maybe. Some people might say PS1 or something, but there was a lot of crap on PS1. Less crap on Super Nintendo, I think. Even the crappy games on Super Nintendo, like if you're going with like Shaq Fu and God, I don't know, Home Alone, or like there's some bottom of the barrel games on Super Nintendo, but even those you could have fun with, I think. PS1, there were a lot of janky games that you don't even know what's happening with the 3D and stuff, like, or with the polygons. Alright, let's skip this. Looks like there's a Mortal Kombat 2 thing that I took a picture of somewhere. Knuckles Chaotix, oh god. Alright, Mortal Kombat 2. Oh, this is like for 32X. The biggest arcade hit of all time comes home in a big way for the Sega platform 32X. I wonder if this is the first time they've announced it, if we knew it was coming to Super Nintendo or what. Oh no, it would have been on Super Nintendo already by 95, right? So this was like new to the 32X. So they're just showing the different graphics and stuff, I guess. If it's even that different. It's hard to tell these days. Alright, so that's enough of that. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 2 is cool. Best in the series? Probably. Oh yeah, and keep in mind they spell Raiden right correctly there. But at the end here they butcher it pretty bad in an advertisement for some reason. Oh yeah, some Star Wars stuff. And Reboot. Do I just have the one page? Yeah. I think we're winding down here. Of course, I'm skipping a ton of stuff. 3DO sections, Jaguar sections, pinball, a double page pinball game for Jaguar. Like, what the hell? There's someone out there, somewhere in the world that had a Jaguar, had this pinball game, and has fond memories of it somewhere. Lemmings, Earthworm Jim on Game Boy? Jeez, I didn't know it was on Game Boy. Tempo for Game Gear. Looks like a cool platformer. All right. So this is some Star Wars stuff. I think this is just like pop culture. Yeah, pop culture. Yep. That isn't necessarily video games. Oh, this is interesting though. I'm just going to read this. Okay, well, first there's a reboot thing. There's like trading cards that are coming out. Okay, hold on a sec. I'll read this. My favorite thing is to look for articles or sections where they... Oh, and that just reminded me of something. I got to go back and read something. You know what? I'm going to find it now because I'm going to forget, and this is important. I'm going to kick myself later if I don't find it. So give me a minute here. There is a letter to the editor. And I know where it is. It's in the bottom left of a page somewhere. Here we go. Okay. There's something called the X Band, all right? Okay, so this is an email from a Dan Benion. It just says, via the internet. Now keep in mind, this is 1995, early 1995, so very early internet. All right. Dudes, this is the letter. Dudes, I'm X-mailing you from my X Band. I seem to have full internet mail access. It's pretty cool to be able to send you an email from my Genesis. That's pretty crazy. It's crazy to think about, you know? And then the response from the editor is, who would have ever thought that you could use your video game system as a means of communication? If you used your Genesis controller to type your message, you know what a pain it is. There's a keyboard available that will let you type in your messages in about half the time. There's also an option to allow you to use numeric pagers to exchange messages. My, the times are changing. That was the end of the letter there. I thought that was so cool. There was a little internet section about 1995 internet. All right, we're past here. I think we're just about done here. The only thing I want to read is the part that I kind of cut off on the photo, but the bottom right where it says it just ain't right. This is hilarious. I have no idea why this is even listed in a video game magazine. All right, so I don't have a photo of it, but The tool of death to your right, which looks like a black, like, taser. It's a taser. This thing is called the air taser. Though the name sounds harmless enough, not really. Maybe it's just a simple Star Trek toy, or perhaps a new device to de-ice locks. Wrong, it's the tool of the devil himself. This bad boy can send a dual 500,000 volt charge from 15 feet away. It supposedly just knocks down your attacker. Yes, to their death. The air taser instantly jams the attacker's nervous system, making them lose all control of bodily functions. That means a large, stinky mess that you'll probably have to clean up, possibly allowing another criminal to attack you. Effective? Maybe. Evil? Most definitely. Why is this in a video game magazine? Why is there a little section about a taser that you can buy? The 90s were weird. Anyway, sorry, that's enough of that. Now, the last thing here, I thought that it would be cool to... Do anybody remember these in your magazines? It's like, send us your old cartridges. And they got the prices. I always want to look for Earthbound, but that wasn't out yet. And the price probably dropped these days anyway because it's on the SNES Classic, but let's see if we can find anything interesting here. Actually, the prices are pretty... nothing crazy. Breath of Fire. They buy it for 18 bucks. They sell it for $39.95. Okay, that's probably as much as it's worth today. Donkey Kong Country, 50 bucks that they sell it for a used copy. So it's not that crazy, actually. 3DO games, oh god. There was a Jurassic Park 3DO game. Flashback was on the 3DO. Gex. Clay Fighter 2, oh boy. Bitch, that's worth a lot. See, that'd be worth more now because 3DO or like Sega 32X games. Alien Trilogy. Alien vs. Predator was on the 32X. Alright, anyways, that's enough of that. That's boring. Oh, there we go. Send us roll cartridges, yeah. Wait, what was the page before? Oh, just zoomed in, okay. And then the last thing I got here. I thought this was pretty funny. Who the hell's Raiden? I don't know who Raiden is, but okay. Apparently they're going to do... Malibu Comics is making a comic about Raiden. Anyways, that's all I got. That was the March 1995 issue of Electronic Gaming Monthly. There we go, it's a little better. So I thought that was neat. Now, one thing I've had some people ask me is, do I have the Earthbound Nintendo Power with the scratch and sniff? You'll have to tune in next week to find out, I guess. My plan is to do these. I should have started the whatever. This is just a fun thing for me. I don't know if anybody's ever gonna watch, but I noticed there wasn't anything like this out there. So my plan is to do it every Friday, and I have hundreds of magazines. I'll say at least 100, but probably way more than that. So I'll plan for next week for another interesting one. I'm gonna change it all the time. Like I could do a Nintendo Power next week. I have some specialty magazines, like I have a PS2 launch. The whole magazine is about the PS2 launch. Yeah, and obviously I got tips and tricks and Nintendo Power. PSM, if anybody remembers those are my favorite. The best artwork in those. Yeah, I might look I'll see if I can find a good Nintendo Power. An interesting Nintendo Power. Here, before we go, I want to look up a, what was it called? Whatever, I'll put it in Battle Arena Toshinden 1 trailer? And there probably isn't a trailer, but that's a minute long, 9.95, that sounds right. So here's the game we were talking about earlier. Launch PS1 game, fighting game that I played the heck out of. It's pretty cool to see.
No problem.
Especially with how blocky Virtua Fighter was, you know? Like, look at that. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's no Street Fighter. I do prefer the sprites and stuff, but... Anyways, that's going to be it. Have an awesome weekend. If you could find it in your hearts to like, comment, anything goes a long way. I also have another podcast that I do with a friend of mine every Wednesday. The Zemus Cheetar podcast. It's just us, and we talk video game news and just what we've been playing lately and that kind of stuff. These are good outlets for just talking video games, you know? Anyways, that's going to be it. Take care and play lots of video games.